Hello friends, a very warm welcome to Ansarkari. I am Vikas Bhardwaj. After understanding the basics and the very key aspect of what political parties are and how their origin was there, let's discuss in very basic but very crucial way classification of political parties and party systems in India. Because this is very important to form a foundation for your answers when you take up complex topics. So classification of political parties and the party system in India is actually based on the same key thought that we have discussed. That if the democracy is ruled by the people, why do citizens still need political parties as intermediaries? So what keyword we are learning here is that it is an intermediary, and that is what is important. So classification of political parties is very important to understand. Political parties are based upon cadre versus mass. There can be cadre based parties, there can be mass parties. So cadre based parties, they are actually having certain characteristics, and similarly is the case with the mass. So cadre parties, political elites focused upon running for office. Okay, so that means only the key personality of a certain organization, they will be actually trying to become legislature or trying to become a statesman. Outsiders limited to campaign support. That is how it is a cadre based party. They will just be supporting, and they will be trying to make sure that the person who is running, he must be winning the power. Mass parties, they enlist new members for funding and ideology dissemination. And there is active role in elections and philosophy promotion. So these are both very different. In India, mass parties are there, like, or what we can say in case of cadre, like for example, Communist Party, it will be little different way. So there are both examples available. So when we compare cadre style elitism with mass mobilization, then we can see example in the Indian National Congress struggle during freedom struggle times, because at that time there will be certain leaders, and the leaders will be actually trying to promote and trying to inspire people, and that's how it became mass based. But if it would have been only cadre style elitism, then we cannot say that Indian freedom struggle would have been such a great mass based unique experimental campaign. It was so unique. So that is why it was more of a mass mobilization and not cadre style elitism. But question arises, do cadre parties strengthen professionalism? Because there will be a set system, there will be a protocol, there will be a hierarchy, and they are weakening democratic participation, as I just said. Do you think so? So please try to think more, and we will be taking up this topic in details later. When we say classification of political parties in India, and it is done by the Election Commission of India, national parties must secure 4%, more than 4% votes in the previous general elections and in at least four major states, and then you will be recognized as a national party. Remember this, mark this up, and then try to apply. Regional parties, they operate within specific states, and local parties, they are limited to smaller constituencies. For example, BJP and the Congress are national parties. DMK, TMC, they are examples of regional parties. So question for us to think is, does 4% rule, this 4% rule of voting that you must get, truly capture national relevance, or does it marginalize emerging voices? Because emerging voices may not be getting 4% vote, but they will be able to capture, say for example, some important topic. So is it the true rule? Is it the right way which is capturing the national relevance, or something, some other thing must be there? What do you think? Write your opinion. Political parties are very important and integral part of any democratic process, especially for a country like India, which is a thriving democracy. So party systems is a concept, and the party system concept is having a structure, and it is having interaction of you can say party. When one party is there, the party is interacting among its members and its groups, and then different parties are also interacting with each other. So what we can say, parties, they have interaction within a political system, like the we speak about Indian political system, based on the number of significant parties and their role in governance. They are all asked, and they are all shared with the what is happening in case of government, what is happening in case of, say for example, some important rule and so forth. So in India, for example, Operation Sindoor, everybody was, given a brief. And then when we speak about critical and crucial national issues, then every political party is asked, and they are, given a chance. For example, if there is some unfortunate and heinous terror attack, then then also political parties all come together, and they are all part of the one political system, and in that political system they all try to put their best idea forward. So is the party system a reflection of society's diversity, like India's diversity, or it is a limitation on it? Because party system, is it reflecting truly diversities, or is it reflecting only something and something is always left out? That is what we have to think. So one party system, like, there will be a single party which is controlling the government. There is no competition allowed, and it is often linked to authoritarian regimes because nobody can question the ruler. Nobody can question the policy of the ruler. Nobody can question the political system because it is already being given from top to bottom. For example, Communist Party of China. Now, India is having a multi-party democracy, so it is very different from what China have. So China also claims to be democracy, but then I am asking you a question. Is it ever possible that one party system can ever uh, deliver a genuine democracy? What do you think? Write your answer. Similarly, two-party system, there are two dominant parties controlling politics. For example, USA, Democrats and Republicans are there. The pro of this such system is that there is a stability. It is it is actually a stable system. There is no crisis as such because one political party is in power, other is outside power. But it is limiting diversity. It may not be representing everybody. It is also marginalizing smaller parties. So India's political party system, I should say, it is a multi-party system, but that is also true. It is fragmented. But now, off late, in the last one decade or so, BJP has emerged as a great power, and then it is actually moving forward and giving stability and also promoting Indian democratic system. So stability outweighing diversity, like in case of India, or is it other way around, or India is actually showing both stability and diversity? What is your opinion? Write in 150 words. Multi-party system actually gives everybody a chance to compete for power. That is why there are groups of even political party. It may be leading to coalition governments also, like the way in India it is happening after 1990s, till the coming of the Congress again back to power and then BJP coming to power. So coalition. In fact, today's political system in India, today's government is also in India. It is also a coalition. We will see to that how India, Germany, Italy, they are examples. For example, national parties like BJP and Indian National Congress and regional parties like TMC and DMK, they are examples. But coalition politics, it also enriches democracy. If one one big political player is there and then other parties are actually hovering around it. For example, you can say NDA. Today's government is called NDA 2.0. Now when it again comes to power, it will be known as NDA 3.0. And it is a kind of a conglomerate. It is a kind of a dynamic group. So it is not weakening governance. It is enriching democracy, but up to what extent? Suppose BJP gets less number of seats, and then it has to depend upon large number of political parties to run. Then what will happen? Similarly, as I was giving you example, in post 1990s, there was a decline of a single party's dominance, that is Congress, rise of coalition government, that is where two groups came up, UA, that is United Progressive Alliance, and NDA, National Democratic Alliance. And both are actually promoting the idea of inclusive governance. But then, as I just said, if one big power is getting less number of seats, then instability will be there, compromises will be there, and opportunism will also be coming into picture. You can think of what is happening in, say, Maharashtra, when a leading political party in power, it has to depend upon other political parties, and then there are such issues coming up such as of corruption, land grabbing, and other kind of moral indiscipline is reflected. Then that becomes a problem. So coalitions, uh, they are both signs of democratic maturity, and they are also sign of political fragility. But up to what degree you will say that it is actually helping to democracy to mature, and from what point you will say that it is actually showcasing political fragility? Draw a classification and write the answer. So when we do a critical appraisal of the Indian party system, there is greater representation of diverse groups, that we agree. That is why large number of political parties are there. There is political competition, that is why accountability is more also there, and that is why there is a very very tough challenge to all political parties and leaders. But in challenges remain instability and policy paralysis if the political power is not very great. And then opportunism and shifting alliances is also another very important. Shifting alliances, then one group may be having two political parties with it, then other groups comes to power, and then also it is having such kind of support from the same. political party. So this is a problem. But then Ayaram Gayaram situation is not in India as of now. It is moving towards more stability, more democratic credentials, and you have to write from that perspective. So does India's diversity make coalition politics inevitable? This is my question to you. कि मजबूरी है coalition politics ही चलेगी ऐसा कैसे होगा? So you try to conjecture, try to write your answer, and we will discuss. What are characteristics क्या हो सकते हैं? What are characteristics of a political party? So pursuing an ideology, that we have agreed, there must be an ideology, nationalistic ideology, pro people, pro women, pro nationalism. Maybe a political party maybe pro kisan, pro farmers, mazdoor, and so forth. It may have a common agenda, that is also there, and setting up the government is obviously there. That is why they come up with a, they say that we have a manifesto. So there is something called political parties manifesto. There is something called state, when they run state elections. Then they also come up with the manifesto, and they are acting as a link between people and government. Government is by a political party, but government is not a political party. That is what very important to understand. So parties like Indian National Congress, it claims that we are secular. BJP, it says we are also secular, but we are also nationalistic. So there is ideology driven agendas. This is very important. So BJP is having ideology that our nation must become great, our nation must become Vishwaguru, our nation must become developed. And Congress says that that ये चोरी हो रहा है, ये institution weak हो रहा है, ये they are more on defensive as of now. They don't have such a great agenda on their hands that they can provide a different alternative blueprint for the masses to give them a chance to rule. So, political parties in today's time, what do you think, are more driven by ideology or they are driven by electoral pragmatism? What is electoral pragmatism? इतने कास्ट को इसको आप वोटिंग दीजिए, वो दीजिए, आप सीट दीजिए, इस कैंडिडेट को लीजिए, आप इस सिंगर को लीजिए, इस एक्टर को लीजिए. So how do you think it is happening? That is what we have to see. So, what are the functions of political parties? Very important. So, most important function is to contest elections and winning power. Most important. Second is selecting candidates and campaigning. That is also happening. Formulating public opinion is very true. You have to give two examples to me when you think about it. Governing the country is definitely is there. And the function of a political party is to sit in the opposition also and check on government. That is what people expect from the opposition. But then at times they are not doing it. So opposition's role in India's parliament, like debates, questioning policies, and then providing a constructive feedback, is very important. That is why we come to this very important question: is the opposition in India strong enough to hold the ruling party accountable, or is it failing in do so? Please think in these directions. Create a kind of a very fresh and good understanding so that we can continue with more topics and link it with the previous topics for your clarity of concepts. Because always remember, without clarity, nothing will happen. Only we have more and more effort to put on to get success. Thank you very much.